This is the fifth video in a series of study aids that were intended to help you learn your vocabulary from your Alif textbook, which we will be covering in your Arabic 131 course. For the Unit 4 vocabulary, we finished off last video talking about university vocabulary words, and now we're going to continue from those words to the next set of words in your vocabulary list. So we did jamia and jamiat. Now, next, let's talk a little bit about two food items here. Khubz. Khubz is bread. Khubz. Khubz is bread. Now, if you just say khubz on its own, it implies some bread. Even though we do have a word in Arabic for some, it's bad, bad, bad. But when you don't write the word the on the front of a food or drink item, like al khubz, what you're implying is that it's some bread. If you do write the word the, in front of khubz, and you say al khubz, then you're saying bread, bread. It's kind of funny that way, but al khubz is bread. Khubz means some bread. What about meat? For those of us who are meat eaters, dajaj. This is also the animal itself, the chicken. So dajaj, dajaj. You might see it with a tamarbut at the end of it. Dajaja, dajaja, dajaj, dajaj. This is chicken. And let's move on from these two food items and let's talk about your neighbor. First, we're going to start with a male neighbor. Jar, jar, jar. A female neighbor is Jara, 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 Jara. And then a co-ed group of neighbors is Jiran, Jiran, Jiran. Or a female-only group of neighbors is Jarat, 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 Jarat. Let's talk a little bit about family members. Siblings first. Let's talk about your brother. Your brother would be, or let's talk about a brother, right? Ach, ach, ach. This is your scratchy H, your cha, your cha, your cha. So to say a brother, you say ach. If you want to say my brother, you say achi, 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 achi. If you have a co-ed group of siblings or brothers only, you could say ikhwa. That's a group of brothers. Ikhwa, 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 ikhwa. If you want to say my group of siblings or brothers, you're going to say ikhwati, 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 ikhwati. This tamabuta changes in appearance to a ta. It's opened up into a ta. When we talked about a brother, what about a sister, right? The short vowel changes on the Hamza Aleph seat here to an instead of an ah. So it's an ucht, 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 ucht. If you want to say my sister, that is a sister. If you want to say my sister, it's uchti, 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 uchti. If it's a group of sisters only, it's akhawat, 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 akhawat. If you want to say my sisters, my group of sisters, akhawati, 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 akhawati. We talked about siblings. What about parents? Well, let's start with your mom or your mother. It's walida, walida, walida. If you want to say my mother, walidati, 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 walida, walidati. And a group of moms all at the park watching their kids. Walidat, 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 walidat. But there's an alternative word that's actually very, very popular that you might see more than walida. It's um, 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 And to say my mom, you're going to say ummi, 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 ummi. My mom, right? You're saying my mom, right? And then a group of them is ummahat, ummahat. Well, what about dads or fathers, right? Walid, walid, walid. And you want to say my dad, walidi, 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 walidi for a group of them. Walidun, 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 walidun. What about the alternative word that actually is more popular in some areas of the Arab world? It's ab, ab. And to say dad of mine or my dad, my father, abi, 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 and a group of them is abba, 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 abba. Make sure you pronounce that hamza. That hamza there is a glottal stop, right? It's like the British when they say bottle, like a bottle of soda, a bottle of Coke, a bottle of Pepsi, a bottle of uh, yeah, anything like that, right? Fizzy drink. So you want to pronounce that glottal stop, right? It's aba, 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 right? Now, here's an adjective for you. This means new, the word new. The adjective new, it describes something. Jadid is masculine. Jadid, jadid. Akh jadid, my new brother. Or akhi al jadid, my new brother. Akhi al jadid, my new brother. If it's a new sister, right? Jadida, 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 right? أختي الجديدة أختي الجديدة أختي الجديدة. That's my new sister. What if you want to say you have something? For the purposes of this course, we're going to let you use this preposition of belonging. Actually, let's talk about the difference between English and Arabic here. In English, we use a preposition I'm sorry, a verb of belonging, right? We will use the word to have, right? I have, she had, he has, right? We will use that verb of belonging, right, to indicate ownership, possession. In Arabic, we use prepositions. We use and, or we use li, or we use laday. But in this case, we're going to introduce to you this one first. This normally is for possession of things only, but for the beginning of the course, we're going to let you use it for having relationships as well, right? Even though this is normally reserved for things. And means at, like and al bayt, at the house, and al bayt. But when you use it with an ownership ending or suffix, a pronoun suffix, uh, of possession, you indicate that you have something or someone has something. Indi is I have. Indaka is you have. Indaki is you have, right? Indahu is he has. Indaha is she has. So indi is I have, right? But remember, we have a negation particle, lesa, and we can use this in front of non-verbs. In this case, this is a preposition here. We can use this in front of non-verbs to indicate that someone does not possess something, right? So, laysa indi, I don't have. Laysa indi ukht, laysa indi akh, laysa indi ikhwa, right? I don't have siblings. Laysa indi, right? Uh, or laysa li or laysa ladayya, right? So that's ownership, right? We talked about previously Good morning. How do you say good evening? Masa al khair. Masa al khair. Masa al khair. Masa al khair. This is evening of goodness. The evening of goodness. Of is implied in between them. Masa al khair. What is the canned response for good evening? Well, it is Masa an-nur, Masa an-nur, Masa an-nur, Masa an-nur, Masa an-nur, Masa an-nur. Masa an-nur is more, or sorry, evening of light. Evening of light. That's the canned response. Well, how do you say the word question? The word question. سؤال 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 سؤال. That's a question. What about plural? أسئلة 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 سؤال أسئلة. Now you might notice we have some interesting things happening in these two words. We have hamzas, these little lightning bolt symbols. We have small ones. We saw on the previous slide we have big ones that are standing independently on their own on the ruled line. But these three we see, one is on a wow seat in su'al, and then the next word, one is on an aleph seat, and one is on a ya seat. Well, there are different rules for what type of seat the hamza will take, whether it's a wow, an aleph, or a ya. But the important thing for you to know is you're not pronouncing it based on that seat, but you're pronouncing it is based on the short vowel above it or beneath it. If it has a line above it, it's an ah, it's an ah. It's a glottal stop with an ah, with an ah. So ah, ah. If it's a diagonal line underneath it, then it's a glottal stop with a eh, with an with an eh. So it's eh, eh, right? So just be mindful of the short vowels. So su'al and as'ila. Now here is your verb, your first introduction to conjugating a verb. Now I know you can't see the last line there because my screen share. Let's see if I can click hide. Actually, I should have done that from the very beginning. But what we have here is the verb ahabba, ahabba. This is to love or to like. This is a measure for verb, meaning we have a hamza aleph in front of it. We add that to front of it. But ahabba, when we conjugate it for, and by the way, we're only conjugating for present tense right now, which this means it's happening right at this moment or it happens habitually. It's happening right at this moment or it happens habitually. So if you want to say I like or I usually like or love, you're going to say ana ohib. Notice the prefixes. For all of these conjugations where we have a prefix on it that you need to pay attention, that's how we conjugate these. We change the prefix, and in only few instances do we add a suffix on these present tense conjugations. So for I like or I love, it's ana ohib. Ana ohib. You don't have to use ana, but you can use that subject pronoun. For you like or love masculine, it's anta tohib. Anta tohib. For you feminine like or love something, anti tohibin. Anti tohibin. For he likes or loves something, huwa yohib. Huwa yohib. Huwa yohib. For she likes or loves something, hiya tohib. Hiya tohib. Now, we have plural forms of these that we can go into real quick. Nahnu, we, nohib, we like. Nahnu nohib. Antum tohibun, antum tohibun, you all like or love. Hum yohibun, they like or love. And like we said in later earlier, you can add a suffix to the end of these to say that something is happening to someone. Ohibuhu, I like him. Ohibuha, I like her. And then there's something called the verbal noun, which could be the subject or an object of a sentence. Al-ihbab, loving. Al-ihbab tayyib, loving is good or kind, right? And then raqam telephone is a telephone number. And we'll get into a third video here on